beautiful people. Welcome back to Season 2 of The Auntie Lynette Show, where we showcase some of Canada's hottest musical and visual artists. I am your host, LWB, with music by Mr. Andrew Riley and New York City's very own Emmy Award-winning composer, Wendell Haynes. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Spreaker.com. I am your host, LWB, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to today's guest, Aadila Munshi. How you doing, Aadila? Wonderful. Well, we're going to tell our guests a little bit about you first before we start our chat. Folks, Aadila is a professional artist living and working in Toronto, Canada. She is known for her evocative paintings of beautifully distressed urban surfaces. In her work, gritty urban textures and decay are uniquely juxtaposed with elegant marks and calligraphic forms. So welcome again. We're going to jump in, Aadila. We're going to have some fun chatting today. You didn't come far to meet us today. You were saying your commute was 15 minutes. Yeah. That was good. We're going to jump right in and tell the folks what your name means, because it's beautiful.
So Aadila means justice.
Justice.
Which is just so serendipitous.
Serendipitous because you were a criminologist from the University of Cape Town.
That's right, yeah.
Tell the people about your journey from South Africa to Canada.
So I actually grew up in Canada. So I lived in Barrie.
Okay.
Went to school in Barrie. Oh. And then my family had a business in South Africa. And so they ended up leaving and to join the family business.
Okay. And the business was in South Africa?
It was in South Africa.
Okay.
Right? My dad and his older brother.
Wow.
And his older brother was the guy, my uncle was the patriarch.
Okay. Well, how young were you when
I was around 10.
So you remember that time.
Yes.
Wow, that must have been a great transition.
Yeah.
It's warmer there, right? All the time.
It's
so
beautiful there.
I
was born there. And then my parents moved, my dad and my mom moved to Canada.
To Barrie, okay, Ontario. Okay, yeah, well, I actually do a lot of work up in Barrie. I know it very well. Unfortunately, they just had their first major tornado a couple years ago. That was upsetting. So you landed there, and you stayed for how many years?
So I finished high school there, and I went to university in Cape Town.
Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful. What a beautiful, beautiful place.
Wow.
And my whole experience of the transition of government was just so rich and so... It was just an unbelievable experience.
Wow.
When I moved to Cape Town, it was when Nelson Mandela actually became the president.
Wow.
In 1994, so it was democratic government for the first time ever.
Wow.
One person, one vote.
Jeez.
It was just... I can't even describe what it felt like to be part of that.
At that time. And were you old enough to vote at the time?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you were in college.
Yes.
So the voting age there is...
I believe it's 18.
Okay.
Sure
Wow. And you were there on the ground during this remarkable time. And you've met him.
Yeah.
You've met him.
Many times, yes.
Many times.
Nelson Mandela, when he was in prison, he had his lawyers, and one of his main advocates was Abdullah Omar, known as Della Omar.
Okay.
And famous, all of these men, all of these people that were part of the resistance, and the ANC, and their partners, all of these people, brilliant minds. Della Omar was the advocate, and when I went to university, I actually met his daughter at university, and we became fast friends. We became close, and I was invited to live with them. So I ended up staying with the family during that time, and so there was always access to what was happening at that time and how much of the work that was being put in to redress. And it was just eye-opening. It was fascinating. It was beautiful. It was transformative. It changed my life.
I could imagine.
Because when you finally realize that there's segregation because of your skin color, and it's actually mandated by law in this country.
Yes.
That doesn't even kind of land, right? And when it lands, it's traumatic. You know, when I talk about my art, I talk about, and it's hard for me to talk about a lot of things, but you know, when I talk about my art, I talk about painting from a repressed voice. And there's so much that can be said about that. But it's true. I paint from a repressed voice, and you've been taught that you are just nothing because of the color of your skin. And then being exposed to these amazing mentors. I lived with Aadila Umar and his wife and his family, and his wife, she's just a queen. I mean, the faces of resistance, Winnie Mandela, Aadila Umar, these women, they just showed and taught so much of fortitude, and I just drank it all in. These people, the freedom fighters, when they fought with humanity and compassion and forgiveness and restorative justice was at the heart of their that's what motivated them.
Sure, their mission. And to have been a student and to have soaked that all in must have been just remarkable for you then and now, as you say. And I know when we first sat down today, you were talking about good people and how good people have surrounded you and infused in you this sense of safety and love. And we're big proponents on this show, as I am in my life, to always make sure that we are leading with love. And so when I found your work online as an artist, I couldn't tell you how remarkable your work makes me feel, because it has movement and it has lightness. And to hear you say that you expressed your repression through your art is interesting, because as it's received from my lane, I didn't see that. So it's amazing how we find our ways through. So how did you come to, I know you returned to Canada and you started training at the Toronto School of Art, but how did that transition when you returned to Canada happen for you, where you now have this amazing social justice background? Your name is Justice. You've got these amazing people that nobody can hold a candle to. There I am in America listening to Trevor Noah's story about how his mother and father had to walk on different sides of the street. And I'm like, what?
I know.
I can't even imagine.
Exactly.
So you've been in the thick of it. I mean, like I said, I'm a witness to it, and you lived that, and then to come out of that, what was that blossoming like for you when you returned to Canada?
So I returned to Canada because I married my husband.
Nice.
And so I would have probably remained there had I not met him. And continued on the path of criminology. But I was very happy to relocate here.
Yes.
We were kind of debating, you want to move to Cape Town or, should I move to Toronto? So we ended up here, right?
Congrats. That's beautiful. It's a love story.
It really is. But my dad, one of my amazing mentors, of course, he put me in art lessons when I was very young. He put me in private art lessons. I just went to the studio of this local artist. We lived in a very small town.
Sure.
Right?
Which is nice.
Yeah, it was
right?
lovely. It was lovely.
Yeah.
And I went to her studio. I would just paint with her.
Yeah.
And I would just absorb. And that happened for years. I had a very, very good painting background. I knew how to manipulate the paints. I understood it. But I was doing a lot of landscapes and very, Venice and
sure,
Italy and things like that.
Sure.
So, and great for a hobby, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's as things began to land in me, as my journey continued, and I met the most fabulous of human beings. I was raised by a village, Lynette.
Aww.
The proverbial village. I mean,
Aww.
and I'm talking people of all colors,
yes.
and all, from all walks of life. I feel like I have been so blessed. Honestly, it's like every city I've been in, I've had a mother, and I've had a father. I've literally picked up, moms and dads along the way, which is very important to me.
You're blessed. You're blessed.
My professor in Cape Town, we talk 3 times a week still. She's remarkable women and men that have just came into my life and have just propped me up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And when all of this lands, it makes you want to express. And I've always been a very pensive person, reflective, and not great with words.
Okay. To have heard that before we sat down, folks, she's quite eloquent. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel. I want
we
to
don't
be
see
eloquent.
ourselves, but no, you're quite eloquent. But go ahead. I hear you. That's how you feel.
Right.
So that's
how I feel.
valid.
And,
yes.
Hence the repressed voice.
Absolutely.
And you wake up and you think, gosh, they want me to travel 1 hour away from our home to go to school because I can't go to the local school that's 2 minutes away from the house. So my father and my mother had to separate for the week. My mom had to take me to another town for school. We lived there for a week, and then we'd come back on the weekends.
Wow.
And as soon as we came back, we were working in the store, very hardworking.
Sure.
And
wow.
that was life, right?
Yes.
And so these things, they begin to land, and you begin to get angry.
Yes.
I channel my work. I channel it into my work. I've always, if it wasn't going to be criminology, then it was going to be this,
right.
which is even more personal to me. And I am making my mark.
Yes.
Right?
I could see that.
I'm not that great at publicizing it, but I'm making my mark, and I'm happy to do it. And there's an African philosophy, a humanist philosophy, South African, in fact, called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
And I am getting goosebumps because
Ubuntu.
I was raised with Ubuntu. We were a village, and it was all about being totally interconnected as humans. And you just are always aware of this, and it helps you to thrive, and it helps you to just absolutely prosper as a human being.
Wow.
And it's all about, what Ubuntu means is I am because we are. And that is just
beautiful. That is so beautiful.
It really is.
Wow.
Can there be anything more beautiful and more poignant than that? Like, it's just so...
Oh,
it just hits the nail on the head, right?
It really
People
does.
would just realize this.
Yeah.
And the late Desmond Tutu, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, he was always kind of dancing and singing and preaching his Ubuntu. And you see that growing up there. You drink it in.
Absolutely.
And, my dad was my first teacher of Ubuntu. What an amazing... There's a generosity to people who practice Ubuntu that is just undeniable. And it's so beautiful.
Yes.
It just kind of goes around and
Absolutely.
around, and it just grows, right?
Absolutely. And what I love about what you said is that if people just understood that, because not only is it a beautiful word that signifies the light, it's true. It's actually true. And if you live by that truth, and if you're accustomed to that being normal, then anything that is a contradiction to that is foreign, and you reject it. And I don't think here in North America particularly we've even understood or begun to understand why that's vital to our well-being.
Absolutely.
And our health and our equilibrium. So the fact that you could come from this background as a criminologist and return to Canada and infuse all of these passions and, as you say, these landings in your artistic work, and then give to us contemporary, urban, original art that moves and, as you say, which is life, is why I'm so honored to have you here today, because you really are an equitable artist, in my opinion. You really understand this idea that you're sharing and giving this beautiful talent of yours. And what I love is that you are inspired by street art. Talk about that, this powerful voice you have to take your abstract expressions that represent your push and pull. I loved when you spoke about that earlier, the struggle of, hope and the ability to rise above the fray and really find yourself. And what I love about that, and I'll let you speak to that, is that that can be both, in Ubuntu terms, individualistic, but also communal.
Exactly.
So please.
Street art is, for me, the ultimate expression. And that's why I'm so attracted to it. And I really kind of resonate with the souls that need to go out there and just blast their expression out there for people. Like, listen to me and look at me and hear me. I'm such a proponent of expression because I do feel repressed. I feel like, I was taught.
Even still, Even still?
Well, not anymore. I think, I'm nearing 50.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're stunning. Folks, wait till you see these photos of Aadila. How is she nearly 50? She looks half that. But here we go. Moving on. Good genes. Sorry, brown doesn't frown. Black don't crack. I can say that on this final day of Black History Month. Yes, my dear, you look amazing.
Thank you.
That's God blessing you all
that's
over.
given me the life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Good for you.
Yeah. So, street art. I love it. I gravitate towards the broken, the disparate, the decaying. I really do. I reach into it and I take it apart and then I make it whole again.
Yay.
Right? That's
so beautiful. Well, we are so lucky to have you. I just loathe when this part of the program arrives because I'm thinking there's not enough time. I want to talk about so many other things. But, 25 years as an artist, having returned to Toronto in 2000, I mean, as we close, if you can just talk about that corporate commission you got for the Daniels Corporation, I think that's something we might want to showcase.
And that was an exciting. I did it through the pandemic.
Okay.
I actually worked for 6 months on it.
Okay.
There were 2 14-foot by 8-foot paintings. They're massive, massive, massive. Oh. I had to divide them into 2 pieces, so 7 by 8, 7 by 8, and then fuse them together at the end. So there were 4 7 by 8s that I worked on in my brother's garage because everything shut down.
Oh my gosh.
When everything shut down, it was like, where do you go? What do you do? How do you paint? So I ended up cramming massive canvases, and I ended up spending 6 months just working out of the garage and painting, and it just turned out so much better than I expected.
Amazing.
And I went to only see it maybe a couple of months ago, in fact. So it's been up since
That's
November
where it is. Oh my gosh. So we can see it?
It was shocking. Oh yeah.
Until when? April, hopefully?
No, it's permanent.
Oh my gosh.
It's permanently in the lobby of the Lighthouse East Tower. It is something.
Oh my
God.
God.
I love it.
Oh, we will all at this show, definitely. And all of you out there, we will all definitely go visit if you are in Toronto. It's at the Daniels Corporation, and we will make sure you have the address for that. It's in the lobby of the Lighthouse East Tower. And so, folks, we're going to end it there on a light note, speaking of the Lighthouse, because I could go on and on and on with Aadila. She's beautiful inside and out. We are so lucky to have her. Thank you so much for being here. Folks, this is season 2 of the Auntie Lynette Show. We are thrilled that you join us on a week-to-week basis. Here from March to April is where we'll have all of our next guests for the season. And we just want to send you love and light, folks. Keep doing what you do. Be original, be unique, stand out. Like Aadila says, always be thriving to honor who you truly are and know that we love you here. Take care.